Be me. 24-year-old college student. Feminist activist. Pretty sure I have everything figured out. Especially when it comes to male relationships. Always believed that male friendship is basically a myth. Guys just bond over shallow stuff like beer, sports, video games. No real emotional depth whatsoever. Decide to prove this theory once and for all. Gonna infiltrate a male friend group and document their superficiality. Perfect opportunity presents itself through mutual friend. Introduces me to group of 4 guys. Ethan, 25, the party organizer type. Noah, 24, quiet and reserved, seems like he's going through something. Benjamin, 25, the wise one who always seems to read people well. Charlie, 26, gamer with sharp humor, always ready with a joke. This is gonna be easy. Start my experiment by becoming one of the boys. Spend weeks learning their language and interests. Memorize gaming terminology, watch sports highlights, study their humor patterns and conversation topics. Initially, they're suspicious of me joining their group, can tell they're not used to having a girl around, but slowly they warm up to my presence. Start including me in their regular hangouts. Perfect chance to gather evidence for my theory. Keep detailed diary entries about every interaction. Document what I see as proof of emotional shallowness. Write things like, spent 3 hours debating best Dota characters, 0 personal talk. Or, Ethan made fun of Noah's gaming skills, didn't even ask how he's doing. Feel vindicated every time they talk about surface-level stuff. This is exactly what I expected from male friendships. Just a bunch of guys avoiding real emotional connection, hiding behind jokes and shared activities. But then something weird starts happening. Notice small details that don't fit my theory. One evening, Charlie doesn't show up to our usual meetup. Instead of just moving on, Ethan immediately asks where he is. Benjamin explains that Charlie's sister is in the hospital. Says Charlie is with her, and they should give him space. This confuses me because I would expect immediate calls and texts, offers of help, emotional support, the whole works. But these guys just know he'll reach out when ready. Respect his need for privacy during difficult time. Another time, Noah loses badly at a game we're playing. Charlie makes his usual joke about it, but then quietly moves closer to Noah on the couch. Doesn't say anything, just sits there. Later I realize Charlie was offering silent support. No big emotional conversation, no advice giving, just presence and understanding. Starting to see patterns I didn't expect. Weeks go by and I keep observing their interactions. Notice how they communicate without many words. Benjamin will bring extra food when someone seems stressed. Ethan organizes activities when the group energy feels low. Charlie uses humor to lighten mood during tense moments. Noah, despite being quiet, always listens intently to others. They have this unspoken system of care, completely different from how my female friends operate. My diary entries start becoming more conflicted, still trying to stick to original theory, but finding it harder to ignore what I'm seeing. These guys genuinely care about each other, just express it differently than I'm used to. No dramatic heart-to-heart conversations. Instead, they show up consistently and pay attention. Offer help through actions rather than words, beginning to wonder if I misunderstood something fundamental. Then comes the night that changes everything. After one of Ethan's parties, everyone heads home. Somehow, Noah and I end up alone cleaning up. He's been especially quiet lately, more than usual. Suddenly he looks at me and asks if he can trust me, caught completely off guard by the directness. Tell him of course he can, not sure what I'm getting myself into. Noah starts telling me about his recent breakup. Apparently, it was really messy and painful. His ex cheated on him with someone he considered a friend, left him questioning everything about relationships and trust. Speaks quietly, like he's afraid of being overheard. even though we're completely alone in Ethan's apartment. Can see how much this is costing him emotionally. Guy is clearly struggling, but trying to hold it together. Ask him why he's telling me this, instead of the other guys. His answer completely throws me off. Says he can't burden them with his problems, but then adds that they already understand anyway. Explains how they've been there for him without him having to ask. Benjamin started bringing him coffee in the mornings. Ethan includes him in more activities to keep him busy. Charlie toned down his usual teasing without being asked. Nobody pressured him to talk about it. Noah looks at me with this expression of genuine gratitude. Tells me his friends have been a perfect support system. Says they just existed in his space when he needed them. No unwanted advice, no pushing him to get over it, no dramatic interventions or emotional confrontations, just consistent, quiet presence and understanding. Realizes they were giving him exactly what he needed. Space to process while knowing they cared. Sitting there listening to this, my whole theory crumbles. Everything I thought I knew about male friendship was wrong. These guys weren't emotionally shallow at all. They had deep connections, just expressed differently. Their support system was actually more sophisticated than mine. They read each other's needs without constant verbal communication, provided help without making it about themselves, respected boundaries while still offering care. Should have kept this conversation private, should have honored Noah's trust in me. But my feminist activist brain kicks into overdrive. Convinced myself this story proves my point somehow, that Noah's friends were actually failing him by not forcing him to talk through his feelings. Decide this is perfect evidence for my research. Next day, I share the whole story in my women's group chat. Tell them about Noah's breakup and how his friends handled it. Frame it as example of toxic masculinity. Argue that his friends were being emotionally unavailable. Claim they were abandoning him in his time of need. Suggest their silent support was actually neglect. Use his personal pain as ammunition for my theory. Go into detail about his relationship trauma. Discuss his trust issues and emotional vulnerability. Analyze his friends' responses as inadequate. Present myself as the only one who really listened to him. Make it sound like I was providing better support than his actual close friends were giving him. Feel justified in my interpretation of events. Think I'm helping other women understand male behavior. One of my friends knows Noah's brother from work. She mentions the story to him in casual conversation. Doesn't mean any harm, just sharing what she heard. But stories have a way of spreading and changing. Details get distorted as they pass from person to person. Emotional context gets lost in the retelling. Soon, half the town knows about Noah's private business. Noah's brother calls him asking about the breakup. Noah is confused because he never told his family. Realizes the information must have come from somewhere else. Starts putting pieces together about who he confided in. Figures out that I must have betrayed his trust. Word gets back to Ethan, Benjamin, and Charlie. They're absolutely furious about the violation. Few days later, get text from Ethan about group meetup. Shows up expecting normal hangout session. Immediately sense the tension in the room. All 4 guys are there, but atmosphere is completely different. No jokes, no casual banter, no welcoming energy. They're all looking at me with expressions I can't read. Realize something has gone very wrong. Benjamin speaks first, voice colder than I've ever heard. Asks me directly if I shared Noah's personal story. Try to deny it at first, then realize lying won't work. Admit I talked about it with my friends. Attempt to justify it as trying to understand male psychology. Explain my feminist perspective on their support methods. Argue that I was trying to help Noah by analyzing the situation. Charlie interrupts me with bitter laugh. Says I turned Noah's pain into entertainment for my friends. Ethan adds that I violated trust in worst possible way. Benjamin just stares at me with disappointment, tells me they welcomed me into their group, treated me like family, included me in everything, and I repaid them by betraying their most vulnerable member. Try to defend my actions, explain my research goals, tell them I was studying male friendship patterns, mention my theory about emotional unavailability, suggest they weren't really helping Noah effectively, argue that talking through problems is healthier, insist I was trying to prove important sociological point. Every word makes their expressions harder. Noah hasn't said anything this whole time, just sitting there looking completely broken, not angry like the others, just defeated. Finally looks up at me and speaks quietly. Says he thought I was different from other people. Believed I would keep his secrets safe. Tells me he trusted me because I seemed to understand. Now realizes I was just using him for some experiment. The weight of what I've done finally hits me. Noah wasn't just sharing gossip or casual information. He was opening up about his deepest pain and vulnerability. Trusted me with something he couldn't even tell his family, and I immediately turned it into content for my group chat. Treated his emotional trauma like research data, violated his privacy for the sake of proving a point. Ethan stands up and tells me to leave. Says I'm no longer welcome in their group. Benjamin adds that I destroyed something precious. Explains that their friendship worked because of trust and respect. Claims I proved I understand neither concept. Charlie doesn't even look at me, just shakes his head. Noah still won't make eye contact. Gather my things and head for the door. Try one more time to explain my perspective. Tell them I was trying to help by bringing outside viewpoint. Suggest they should be more open about emotions. Argue that my research could benefit other men. Insist my intentions were good even if execution was flawed. They just stare at me until I stop talking. Walk home alone, thinking about what just happened. Realize I didn't just lose access to their friend group, actually destroyed something real and valuable. Noah trusted me with his most vulnerable moment, and I weaponized it against the people who cared about him. His friends weren't failing him. They were protecting him, giving him space to heal while staying close enough to help. Spend days replaying conversations in my head. Remember all the small gestures I dismissed as meaningless. Benjamin bringing coffee, Ethan organizing activities, Charlie adjusting his humor, Noah listening carefully. They had sophisticated emotional intelligence, just expressed it differently than I expected. My theory about male friendship was completely backwards. Try reaching out to Noah individually, want to apologize and explain my mistake. But he doesn't respond to texts or calls. Mutual friend tells me he's avoiding everyone now. Not just me, but his entire friend group. My betrayal didn't just hurt him, it poisoned his other relationships. He can't trust any of us anymore. Learn that the friend group is falling apart. Ethan blames Benjamin for not seeing through me sooner. Benjamin is angry at Charlie for making jokes during serious moments. Charlie feels guilty for not protecting Noah better. They're turning on each other instead of supporting each other. My experiment didn't just prove my theory wrong, it actively destroyed the thing I was trying to study. Weeks pass, and I'm completely isolated from them. See Charlie at coffee shop once. He pretends not to notice me. Hear through mutual friends that Noah transferred schools. Couldn't handle everyone knowing his personal business. Ethan stopped organizing group activities altogether. Benjamin became even more guarded around new people. My women's group chat celebrates my research findings. They think I successfully exposed toxic masculine behavior, praise me for infiltrating their group and gathering evidence. Suggest I write article about male emotional inadequacy. Use Noah's story as case study in feminist theory. But their enthusiasm makes me feel sick now. realize I approached the whole thing with predetermined conclusions. Never actually tried to understand their perspective, just looked for evidence to support my existing beliefs, ignored anything that contradicted my theory, treated them like research subjects instead of human beings. Noah's pain became data point in my ideological framework, sitting alone in my apartment months later, thinking about what I learned and lost. Those guys had something I'd never experienced: deep, unspoken understanding and consistent support. They knew how to be there for each other without drama, respected boundaries while still showing care. Their friendship was actually more mature than mine. My friend group operates on constant emotional processing. We analyze every feeling, discuss every problem endlessly, offer unsolicited advice, and demand detailed explanations. Sometimes it helps, but sometimes it's exhausting. Noah's friends gave him something different: space to heal without pressure to perform recovery. Understand now that I misinterpreted their communication style. Silence didn't mean emotional unavailability. It meant trusting their friend to handle his own problems while staying close enough to catch him if he fell. They were offering mature, sustainable support instead of the intense, demanding care I was used to. My experiment failed in every possible way. Not only did I fail to prove male friendship was shallow, I actually destroyed an example of deep, healthy connection, betrayed someone's trust in the process, caused pain to multiple people who welcomed me, lost opportunity to learn something valuable about relationships. Noah never did return to our social circle, heard he's doing better now, found new friends, but he became much more guarded about opening up. My betrayal taught him not to trust so easily, damaged his ability to form vulnerable connections, took something beautiful and innocent out of the world. Other guys eventually reconciled with each other, but their dynamic was never quite the same. They became more careful about who they let in, less spontaneous in their trust and openness. My presence had contaminated their safe space, made them question their own judgment about people, sometimes wonder what would have happened differently if I had approached them with genuine curiosity instead of judgment, if I had respected Noah's confidence and kept his secrets. Might have learned valuable lessons about different types of emotional support, could have been part of something special instead of destroying it, might have challenged my assumptions through experience rather than theory. Instead, I'm left with the knowledge that I was completely wrong. Male friendship isn't a myth or a shallow substitute. It's just a different way of creating deep emotional bonds, based on consistency, respect, and unspoken understanding. They don't need constant verbal processing to care deeply. Their love shows up in actions rather than words. My feminism taught me to be suspicious of male behavior, to assume the worst about their emotional capabilities, to interpret their silence as evidence of inadequacy. But I was applying my own cultural standards to their relationships, demanding they perform care in ways that felt familiar to me. Instead of trying to understand their actual methods, realize now that diversity in emotional expression is valuable. Both approaches have strengths and weaknesses. Constant processing can be healing, but also draining. Quiet support can be sustaining, but sometimes insufficient. The key is matching support style to individual needs. Noah's friends knew exactly what he needed. Wish I could go back and handle everything differently. Approach their friendship with respect instead of skepticism. Honor Noah's trust instead of exploiting his vulnerability. Learn from their example instead of trying to prove them wrong. But some mistakes can't be undone. Some trust, once broken, can't be repaired. My research taught me the opposite of what I intended to prove. Male friendship is real, complex, and valuable. Just because it looks different doesn't mean it's inferior. My academic theories couldn't capture the reality of human connection. Lived experience trumped ideological assumptions every time. I was the shallow one, not them. Years later, I still think about that group sometimes. Wonder if Noah ever learned to trust people again, whether the other guys found their way back to easy intimacy. If they remember me as cautionary tale, or just forget I existed. Hope they've managed to rebuild what I helped destroy. Wish I could apologize for the damage I caused. The irony isn't lost on me that my experiment failed completely. Set out to prove male friendship was superficial. Ended up demonstrating that I was the one lacking depth. They had genuine care and connection. I had theories and prejudices. They offered trust and vulnerability. I offered betrayal and analysis. Learned too late that friendship isn't about proving points. It's about showing up consistently and honoring trust, respecting boundaries while offering support, meeting people where they are instead of where you think they should be. Noah's friends understood this instinctively. I had to learn it through catastrophic failure. Sometimes wonder what my life would look like now. If I had been capable of real friendship back then, if I had approached them with humility instead of certainty, might have learned to give and receive support differently, could have expanded my understanding of human connection. Instead, I'm left with regret and hard-earned wisdom. The saddest part is that Noah needed what his friends were giving him space to process his pain without judgment or pressure. Consistent presence without demands for emotional labor. Trust that he could handle his own healing timeline. I disrupted that healing process for the sake of proving a point, turned his private struggle into public spectacle. My feminism was supposed to be about supporting people, understanding different forms of oppression and healing, creating space for authentic human connection. Instead, I used it as a weapon against genuine care. Let ideology override empathy and wisdom. Became the kind of person I thought I was fighting against. Realize now that true allyship requires listening and learning, not imposing my own framework on other people's experiences. Noah and his friends had something beautiful. I saw it as problem to be solved instead of gift to be honored. My need to be right was stronger than my desire to understand. Cost everyone involved something precious. Be me, sitting alone with this story, knowing I was the villain all along, destroyed something I claimed to care about, proved myself wrong about everything I believed, learned the hard way that friendship requires humility, and trust is more fragile than theories. And I realized the real friendship was the bonds I destroyed along the way.